Hey guys, does this look like macOS? Hold on, this is definitely not Windows. Today, we're going to install Redstar OS. What exactly is Redstar OS? Well, it's the official OS of North Korea. Rumor has it that the interface looks exactly like a Mac because Kim Jong-un is a massive fan of macOS. I mean, now the guy literally has his own iMac. But here's the kicker, if this system connects to the internet, it tracks and reports everything I do directly to North Korea. Today, we're diving into the world's most secretive OS to see what it's hiding. Am I going to get busted? Pray for me, guys. After wandering around the internet for a while, I managed to find some info about this mysterious OS. Basically, Redstar OS is built on a Fedora Linux core, but it has been heavily modified. It is completely locked down and monitored by the North Korean government. Sounds a bit creepy, but that's fine, and I love a good risk. Luckily, I stumbled upon the installation ISO file on the Internet Archive. If you also want to live on the edge, I've dropped the download link in the description. It actually comes in both English and Korean versions, pretty cool, but to get the ultimate authentic North Korean experience, I'm going with the original Korean version. Alright, we've got the installation ISO file, but no way in hell am I going to install this on my main PC. So, today's victim is once again this legendary Dell Optiplex 7020. Now, I'll need a USB drive. Wait, where is it? Has anyone seen my USB? Ah, here it is. Let's flash this bootable USB quick and easy with Rufus. Now, it's time to play with Heavy Weapon of North Korea. Plug in the USB, select boot from USB. Wait, something's wrong, it refuses to boot. Just a black screen with a single line of a Linux error message. I tried it again, still nothing. The system is hitting some kind of error. Is this a sign from the universe warning me not to install this dangerous thing? Man, this sucks. Come on, Mr. Kim, I just want to experience your amazing operating system for a bit. Alright, so there's no other choice. I'll have to run it in a virtual machine. Let's just pray that my beloved PC won't log out of life after this reckless experiment. The virtual machine config is ready. Let's launch it and pray. Damn it, something is off again. Another endless black screen. Is this OS really that hard to install? Or must computers over there have military standard hardware to boot? Oh, look at that, it's up. It's actually working, even though I have absolutely no clue what this block of Korean text means, at least it's finally running. Let's see, I'm going to need some serious help from Google Translate right about now. Yep, this is the initial installer. Alright, now for the account creation setup. Oh, we can choose an avatar right here. This library is actually pretty rich. Which one do you guys like? Is this a tiger? No, I prefer fruit. Okay, this looks fine. Which line is for the username again? Ah, here it is. What's the next step? Oh, so this is the network setup. From what I know, North Korea doesn't connect to the global internet. They only use their own domestic intranet, and they can only access a handful of state-approved websites. Truly a strange country. And here we go, finally at the installation step. Patience is a virtue, I guess. Wait, is that a picture of an iMac right there? It looks so real, it's just missing the Apple logo. Yo, it's booting up, logging in, and boom. Welcome to Redstar OS. Look at this bottom dock and the overall layout. You have to admit, they cloned macOS down to the exact millimeter. But absolutely everything is in Korean. At first I thought this would be a fun vibe, but Akrabi app storynin reti in Korea. But after wrestling with these characters for a while, I'm about to lose my mind. According to the guide on the download page, I need root privileges and have to run this specific command to switch the language to English. Okay, so where is the terminal? Is this it? Yep, that's the one. We'll use the root setting command to open the root configuration. Enter the password. Alright. Now run that line of code in the terminal to change the language to English. And restart the system for the changes to take effect. There we go, look at that. The entire interface has switched to English. Awesome, officially out of the woods. Now that the language barrier is gone, we can easily use it now. The first thing we need to do is fix this screen resolution. It's tiny and honestly so annoying. Let's see. We have system preferences. Sweet. There's display. 1024 by 768. No wonder it's so small. And boom! Full screen now, that's more like it. Everything is sharp, looking much more comfortable. Next, let's change this boring green wallpaper. Whoa, did you catch that? They actually implemented macOS's signature genie effect for Windows animation. They copied Apple to a T, but I gotta admit, it's pretty smooth. However, the rest of the wallpapers are just generic nature landscapes. None of them are unique like a missile truck as I expected. Well, just leave it as default. Looking down at the clean dock, what do we have here, Kfinder? Interesting, a clone of Finder, but it's just a standard file manager, nothing special. What else? An address book? Does it have Kim Jong-un's phone number in here? Nope. What a shame. It's completely empty. A calculator app? Let's check. 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, sure. The app menu actually has a lot of cool stuff. We have a resource monitor. Look at this. The OS is actually pretty lightweight. Despite the pile of spyware running in the background, when in standby mode it consumes quite little RAM, only about 500 megabytes. There are a few other strange apps here that I don't recognize. One has a sword and shield icon. Looks like an antivirus software, but wait a second. The whole country uses an isolated internal network, no real internet, so where do viruses come from? High capability, this is exactly a disguised spyware tool of North Korea. We'd better leave it alone. Alright, now we're going to play with the most dangerous part, accessing the internet on this OS. Will it actually track us and beam our data straight back to North Korea? Or is the FBI going to come knocking on my door because they sniffed out North Korean spyware traces on this PC? We have a web browser called Nainara. Yeah, I have no clue how to pronounce that. It looks like a modified fork of Firefox. Oh no, everything in here is in Korean. I see this IP address belongs to North Korea. And obviously, since they run on an isolated intranet, we can't connect to it from the outside world. This webpage just refuses to load. Let's try accessing Google here. Yep, of course it doesn't work. Every connection is blocked. It's completely dead. So let's see if we can switch this browser's language to English, and if there's any way to tweak it so we can surf the web normally. After fumbling around with Google Translate for a bit, I found a Korean language pack hidden inside the add-ons section. I disabled it, restarted the browser, and boom, sweet. Everything is in English now. Look at this. It's literally just a rebranded Firefox. There's no raw anything here. So how do we get normal internet access working on this system? I'll need to dig into some network settings. Here we go, I'm using a DHCP configuration, and all the info here looks standard. The Ethernet status says connected. The culprit is probably the system firewall. They've locked down all unauthorized outward connections. Well, time to tear down this firewall. Where is the terminal? There's a pretty weird thing here. I can't use the standard Control plus Alt plus T shortcut to open the terminal like on regular Linux. You are forced to launch it from the app menu. Strange. Alright, let's gain root access. I'm going to run this command to pull up the firewall rules. Wow, they really blocked a ton of stuff here. No wonder we couldn't browse the web normally. So now I'm going to use the rm command to wipe it out, then restart the IP table service. Okay, let's test the browser again. Google.com. Oh, it actually worked. We're on Google. Let's try searching for something. Damn it, it's a no-go. We can only land on the Google homepage, but after that we can't do anything else. What about Bing? Let's try Bing. Nope, same thing. And the page won't even render properly. Whenever I click on any link, the system throws a "this connection is untrusted" error. So annoying. It seems blocking external connections is hard-coded deep within the system core and we just can't bypass it. Truly an operating system from a mysterious land. Alright, so what else do we have that's interesting? Here's the Stickies No app. I wonder if what I write here gets beamed straight to North Korea. Shouting out to Mr. Kim. Hope they like this note. Okay, enough joking around. The longer I use this OS, the more anxious I feel. It's probably time to wrap up this crazy high-risk experiment right here, before they can track down my location. Alright, we're cutting the cord on this. Goodbye Red Star OS, goodbye North Korea.